There's this thing that happens when really like kind of hetero guys come up to you and they're like, they always have to like preface why they watch the show, like give a little like, oh, my girlfriend makes me watch it, you know, I got into it because of that, which is always fine and fun, but you know, at least they're watching the show, and I think it's, you know, our show is opening up a lot of issues, I think, that are kind of relevant and cool that people actually don't really talk about too much.
What's it like being a young straight guy on a Broadway show?
It's kind of amazing, actually. You know, there's so many beautiful dancers and that stuff. So it's the odds are kind of in your favor in terms of that. But you know, honestly, I think it helped a lot too, because I was a dancer first and foremost. I grew up breakdancing and stuff, and there is something to be said about the way. I mean, there are definitely. I have a lot of like gay friends who are very masculine dancers, but there's a lot of, you know, people that aren't. And I think I think you seeing a man in musical theater, I think it's. I don't want to say it's rare, but it's a little harder to come by than people would think.
But you've done a duet with Elton John.
I did. Sir Elton John.
Now, what happens when you meet at night? Do you have to genuflect? What do you do?
No, I met him a few times before we actually got into the studio together. I met him, I think, you know, I did a couple things with his AIDS Foundation, and he's a big fan of Glee, and he was really just so...
John's a fan of Glee?
He is, big time. I know. I feel the same way. But so there's some crazy people that are fans of Glee. Yeah. In the States, musical television shows aren't really common. In fact, they kind of try to stay away from them because they're so kind of ridiculous. And so it was pitched as a musical television show about high school kids singing and dancing. And when I first heard it, I was like, I didn't think it had a shot, to be perfectly honest, because it is so out there. And I think it would have an audience, but kind of a niche kind of audience. I never would have expected the kind of global phenomenon it's become.